I have no one to impress and nothing to prove. I am fully known and fully loved. For so many years, I wanted acceptance from family members, from friends. I wanted to become somebody. But God has shown me through this community, look, you are somebody because I love you. And God has just been working my life, showing me like, look, I made you who you are. We all have this sinful nature, but God is redeeming that in me and showing me, look, you are loved, you are cared for, you don't have to be anybody else. I mean, I have already loved you at your worst, so there's nothing you can do that could escape my love. My name is Colton Burse. I'm 25 years old and I grew up in Spruce Pine, North Carolina. I grew up in a household where we always went to church, but we didn't really do much else together. We didn't pray together, we didn't read our Bibles. Church was okay, but it wasn't captivating. What really captivated me was at an early age I was introduced to pornography. And it became what basically was my life for a long time. I looked for sex and lust and everything, whether it was TV shows or movies, magazines, wherever I could find it, that's what I searched for because I found comfort in that. It also came from the fact that I really felt like an outcast in my life. I felt like at home I didn't feel accepted. At school, I felt like I had to prove myself to people, so like this desire for approval led to this desire for comfort, what led me to porn and what led me to seeking that out. Over the years, I kind of wanted a girlfriend really early on, sought that out a lot, thought that would fulfill me. That ninth grade, I also felt the call to preach. That led me to thinking that God had this special calling in my life. So now not only was I searching for approval from people, but also I had this thing that made me feel like I had this approval from God. It was in this time, in this period, I started a relationship with a girl that lasted 3 years. And we were both Christians, we both thought it would go great, and it didn't go great. It kind of went terrible. Still struggling with pornography, not having any real way to understand how to confess, repent, and be held accountable for that, and not having anything in place. The only person I could really run to was that girl. And so I came to her and told her every time I'd look at something, every time I would lust after something. And so this relationship was very toxic. I became controlling. And I come back from break one week and I do the same thing again, look at some image or video, text her, and I say like, look, it happened, we'll get past it, it's fine. Whatever, I really don't care, we'll just move past this. And she says, no, we're not, I'm breaking up with you. And there's moments in your life where you look and you say, God had changed everything. And it was at that point that literally my whole life changed. Because this foundation I had built this relationship on had crumbled. Because I thought I was gonna marry this girl. I thought we were going to start a life together, and now she's gone. So once I finished Bible college, I come back and I'm hunting for a woman. I'm hunting for someone who loves Jesus. I'm hunting for someone I can do life with. So I get an apartment in Burnsville with my roommate who I met at Bible college, and we decided to look for a church. So I asked my youth pastor, I'm like, hey, do you know any churches around here who would have women my age? And he said, but why don't you go check out this place called The Grove? And so I go out there my first Sunday, and this guy comes up after and talks to me and my friend and says, hey, my name is Zach, I'm the pastor of The Grove. And we start talking. I'm still holding on to this calling to preach, oh man, that's all I want to do. All I ever wanted was a church. And one day, I get asked to preach at another church. I'm really excited, so I tell Zach that, and he says, hey man, I'm not trying to hurt you. He's like, I really think you need to reconsider if you should be preaching right now. I think you need to get some distance between you and this sin before you stand behind a pulpit. And so I stepped back. I told that church I couldn't preach, and there's so much more better for you out there than just being a pastor, being a preacher. That's not what makes God love you. That's not what makes you important to him. In that, I felt free from that burden, because this other foundation I had where I was holding on to so firmly that I had this higher calling in my life was shattered again. And it was like, oh, like I have nothing now. And that's exactly where I needed to be. So I start serving, taking over the Grove Library, and I take over sound booth eventually. And it's so funny to me, where I wanted to be in front of everybody, I wanted to be the star. Now I'm behind the scenes, and I'm only noticed when I mess up, which is the thing that terrifies me. When I came to the Grove, I was looking for a wife, and I found a community. And that's something I didn't know I needed. And God has used the Grove and has shown me, like, look, you don't have to be a pastor. You don't have to have your life put together. You don't even have to be ashamed of who you are, because there are people who love you because I love you, and they know my love, and you know my love, and that's what matters most. To be lost for me means to feel like I'm in so much control, but I really have no control. So it's this disillusionment in my mind of thinking that I have everything in my hands, that I can control my destiny, when in reality, everything is falling apart and I just don't want to realize it. There's so many situations where I feel God pressing in on me, and Jesus just telling me something better here, I have a better way for you. He's just constantly reminding me of how he loves me, but also of how he has saved me from selfishness, from anger, from wanting what will only benefit me. To pursue joy, the best thing you can do is not to pursue your own joy, but rather to stop pursuing joy and start pursuing Christ. And I'm learning that when I pursue Christ, when that means serving others, caring for others, not for my own benefit, but for theirs, I find more happiness and joy in that. There's it's not a sensation, but rather this just happenstance of God being with you and feeling you're doing something that's bigger than yourself.